You know that feeling when you're typing a frantic text, maybe you're walking, and you mistype a word, just completely butcher it, but autocorrect just silently fixes it?
Oh, yeah.
You hit send, the message looks perfect, the other person has no idea you originally typed, ducking.
Right, the classic save. The meaning got there, but the input was a total disaster.
Exactly. But here's the thing. If you were speaking that message, say, in a language you're trying to learn, you would have sounded completely wrong.
Hmm.
The meaning might have gotten there, but the delivery broken. And for the longest time, that has been the hidden trap of using AI to learn a language.
It's the autocorrect trap.
You speak into an app, it checks your grammar, maybe fixes your syntax, but it's completely deaf to how you actually sound.
Right. It fixes the text, not the voice.
Which is fine for, writing an email.
But it's catastrophic if you're trying to learn how to speak. You think you're practicing pronunciation, but really, you're just practicing dictation.
But today, we're looking at a massive shift in the technology underneath all this. We're moving from an AI that reads to an AI that actually listens.
Yeah.
We have a stack of sources here about using Google Gemini Pro specifically for pronunciation training. And I gotta say, looking at what it can do, some of it is borderline spooky.
Spooky is the right word.
Yeah.
I mean, we are not talking about robot voices anymore.
All
We're
right.
talking about a tool that can tell if you sound confident
Or nervous.
or if you're just rushing because you want to get the sentence over with.
See, that's the part that hooked me. Because I have tried the language apps, I've done the OWL, and that frustration of, am I saying this right?
Yeah.
It's the #1 reason I quit.
It is.
It's that total lack of real feedback.
It's the biggest hurdle. And what we have here is basically a roadmap. We're going to cover why Gemini Pro is fundamentally different from tools like ChatGPT or Claude when it comes to audio.
The physics of it.
The physics of it, exactly.
Yeah.
Then we're going to break down this power prompt recipe that supposedly turns the AI into a 20-year veteran coach.
And then look at a daily routine to actually, fix the problems it finds.
Yep.
So let's start with the technology itself, because I think most people, and I include myself here, we just assume AI is AI. If I talk to ChatGPT or I talk to Gemini, it's all just processing data.
Not quite.
But the source material draws a really hard line in the sand here, especially with how they handle sound.
It's a massive distinction.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to how the machine perceives reality. So most of the tools we've used for the last few years, ChatGPT, the voice assistants on your phone, they all rely on this legacy system called speech-to-text.
STT.
STT.
Yeah.
Okay. STT. I know the acronym, but let's slow down a bit. How does that actually work under the hood?
Okay, so imagine you're speaking to a stenographer who is trying to be a little too helpful. You say a sentence into the mic. The AI's first job isn't to critique how you sound. Its first job is to figure out what words you intended to say.
Right.
It takes the audio, strips out the noise, turns it into text tokens, and then it analyzes the text. So it's discarding the audio almost immediately.
Precisely. Once it has the text, the audio is trash. It's gone.
Wow.
So if you mispronounce a word, but the context makes it obvious what you meant.
The AI just fixes it.
It acts like that helpful friend who finishes your sentences for you. If you say, I would like an apple, and the context is fruit, the speech-to-text system just writes, apple. It hands the text apple to the brain of the AI. The AI looks at it and says, grammar is perfect.
Meanwhile, you're still walking around saying apple.
Exactly.
That seems, that's fatally flawed for a learner. It's prioritizing meaning over the mechanics.
It's optimizing for communication, not for correction. And, there's another layer to this that's mentioned in the sources, the issue of training bias.
The profiling aspect.
In a way, yeah. These STT systems are trained on these massive data sets, so they use demographic probabilities to make guesses.
So if it knows I'm from a certain country.
Or if you tell it, say, you're Vietnamese, it accesses a database of common errors made by Vietnamese speakers.
So it's already looking for missing ending sounds before I even open my mouth.
It's a confirmation bias engine. It might flag a missing ending sound because statistically, that's what it expects to hear, even if you actually nailed it.
So it's giving me generic advice based on my profile, not personal feedback.
Right, not based on your actual performance.
That explains so much about why those generic language apps feel so repetitive. Okay, so how is Gemini Pro different? The source keeps using this word, multimodal.
Multimodal is the game changer. It means the AI isn't just looking at a text transcript, it is processing the raw audio file.
The actual sound waves.
The actual waveforms, yeah. It's listening to the length of your vowels in milliseconds. is hearing where you place the stress in a word. It's detecting the micropauses between syllables.
So it's listening to the physics of the sound, not just the definition of the word.
Right. It connects the audio directly to the processing core. It can feel the energy. One of the key insights here is that Gemini can tell if you are speaking confidently or shyly.
A text transcript can't show shyness.
But sound waves can.
That is the aha moment for me. It's the difference between sending someone an email and leaving them a voicemail.
Yeah.
The emotional context is just there.
And for pronunciation, that emotional context, the rhythm, the hesitation, the prosody, that is where the accent lives. That's where fluency lives.
So the fatal flaw of standard speech-to-text is that it cleans up the mess before analyzing it.
Exactly. It prioritizes meaning over sound, fixing your errors instead of flagging them.
Okay, so we have a tool that has ears, metaphorically speaking, but the source material is very clear. You can't just turn it on and say, help me.
No.
That just leads to chaos. You need a specific setup.
Right. You have to control the variables. And this is practically very simple, but it's crucial. First, the hardware.
Okay.
You don't need a studio mic. Your smartphone is fine. But the room matters.
Quiet room. Door closed.
Essential.
Yeah.
Because remember, we're dealing with sound waves now, not just text tokens. If you have a fan whirring in the background, traffic noise, Gemini might interpret that white noise as a phoneme. It might think that whoosh from the fan is you trying to make a nice sound.
So it's too sensitive for its own good sometimes.
It can create hallucinations in the audio processing, so silence is key. But the bigger setup rule, and this is where most people fail, is about what you actually say.
The no single words rule.
This is a mistake everyone makes. They pick up the app and they just say apple, banana, hello.
I do this constantly. I just want to check if I can say the word. Why is that bad?
Because that's not how language works. The force suggests a paragraph like 150 to 200 words, a short story, a recap of your day, whatever. The reason is a technical concept called co-articulation.
Co-articulation?
It's how sounds influence each other. When you speak a single word, you say it in isolation. But in a real sentence, the end of one word blends into the start of the next one. The rhythm changes. If you only practice single words, you sound like a robot. The AI needs to hear how you link words together. Do you blend? Is your rhythm robotic or fluid? You only get that data from a full paragraph.
That's like trying to judge a dancer by looking at a single photo versus watching a video of them actually moving.
That is a perfect analogy. The paragraph provides the movement.
Okay, so we're in a quiet room. We have our paragraph about our day. Now we get to the power prompt. This is the recipe mentioned in the source material. And I have to admit, whenever I see these long, detailed prompts, I get a little skeptical.
Skeptical.
Well, it feels like I'm, LARPing with a computer. Please pretend you are a coach. It just feels weird to give a machine a personality. Does it actually change the output?
It changes everything. You have to remember, these large language models are these vast, generic oceans of text. They've read everything from Reddit threads to astrophysics textbooks.
Right.
If you don't narrow their focus, they drift. They just revert to the mean. By assigning a persona like a native English pronunciation coach with 20 years of experience, you are telling the AI which part of its latent space to activate. You're forcing it to adopt a specific standard of critique.
So it's not just flavor text, it's a functional constraint.
Absolutely. And the prompt in the source has 4 very strict rules that I think are brilliant.
Okay, let's run through them because this seems to be the secret sauce. The first one, and one we've touched on, no stereotypes.
This is critical for accuracy. You literally command the AI, only report what is actually heard. Do not use demographic data. You are forcing it to ignore its training on general population stats and focus purely on your audio file.
It prevents that confirmation bias we talked about.
Exactly.
That's empowering. It's telling the machine to look at the data, not the trend.
Exactly. The second rule is specific quotes. The AI has to provide timestamps and the exact words.
Right.
It can't just say, work on your vowels. It has to say, at 0.15 you said sheep, but it sounded more like ship.
Which is so helpful because otherwise you're just guessing where you went wrong. And frankly, without timestamps, I'd probably just assume the AI was hallucinating.
Then there's stress analysis.
Yeah.
English is a stress-timed language. If you say photography instead of photography.
And the meaning gets lost or just sounds wrong.
Exactly. So the prompt explicitly asks the AI to listen for that emphasis. And the last one was confusing sounds. But I want to go back to the stress analysis for a second because it leads into the most surprising part of the source material for me, the case study.
The Vietnamese student test.
Yes. This really highlights the emotional intelligence of this multimodal system. So the author used this prompt with a student. They didn't tell Gemini where the student was from.
But Gemini guessed it.
Instantly. Based purely on the intonation, the rise and fall of the voice, Gemini correctly identified the speaker as likely Vietnamese.
Whoa!
That is nuanced listening. That's detecting the music of the mother tongue bleeding into the target language.
That's wild. But what stood out to me even more in that case study was the feedback on speed. It wasn't just, you said this word wrong.
Oh, the nervous comment, yeah.
Yeah, the AI told the student, you are speaking too fast. This makes you sound nervous. And it suggested pausing at commas to sound more confident.
I mean, just think about the implication of that. That isn't pronunciation advice. That is psychological coaching.
It is. It's soft skills.
The standard speech-to-text tool would just process the words. If the words were right, it would give a thumbs up. Gemini heard the pace, the milliseconds between words, and correlated it with an emotional state, anxiety.
It's teaching you how to command a room, not just how to pronounce a vowel.
Yeah.
It's connecting the dots between how we sound and how we are perceived, which is, the whole point of learning a language, really. We want to be understood, but we also want to project who we are.
Precisely. It's closing the gap between your internal voice and your external reality.
I'm curious, why is the no stereotypes instruction so critical for the user?
It forces the AI to listen to your individual voice, not just guess based on a demographic textbook.
Now, before we get too carried away thinking this is all magic, we have to pay the bills. Okay, we are back. We've praised the ghost in the machine, but the source material also throws a bucket of cold water on us. Gemini Pro is good, but it has limits.
It does.
It's not a magic wand.
It's not a human. That's so important to remember. We talked about the hallucinations from background noise. That's a big one. But there's also the issue of accent confusion.
Right. The water versus water problem.
Exactly. If you don't specify in your prompt whether you're aiming for general American or received pronunciation, that's the standard British accent. Gemini just defaults to the average.
Which is usually a generic American accent.
Usually, yeah. So if I'm trying to sound like I'm from London and I say schedule the British way,
Gemini might flag it as an error.
it might, yeah. Because it's comparing you to a database of mostly American speakers. You have to be specific in your prompt. You got to say, act as a British English coach.
That seems like a simple fix, but definitely good to know. What about the hardware limitation? The source mentions something about thin sounds getting lost.
This is a physics problem, and it's actually really interesting. So the microphone on your smartphone is incredible, but it's designed for phone calls.
Oh, okay.
So it often runs these noise cancellation algorithms to cut out background hiss. Right.
The problem is, some English sounds, specifically the unvoiced fricatives like the thee in them or the f in fish, they occupy the same high-frequency range as that background hiss.
So the phone thinks my thee sound is just air conditioner noise, and it deletes it.
Exactly. It scrubs the audio to clean it, and in the process, it removes the very sound you were trying to practice. Gemini might say, you missed the thee sound, when actually you said it right and your phone just filtered it out.
So don't get gaslighted by your hardware.
Yes. Trust your ears, or ask a human if you're really stuck. Don't let the AI destroy your confidence over a noise cancellation algorithm.
So we have the tool, we have the prompt, we know the limits. The source material ends with a study plan, this record, analyze, fix routine.
This is the practical application part. The author suggests a daily routine. And the key here is repetition. And this is a bit controversial. Don't record a new paragraph every day.
Wait, really? I would have thought variety is better. I need to learn more words. No, because you can't track your progress if the target is always moving. The advice is to record the same paragraph every single day for a week.
Ah, so you could A/B test yourself.
Exactly. You record on Monday, you get the feedback, you record on Tuesday, and you upload both files to Gemini. Then you ask, compared to my recording yesterday, what is better?
You're building a feedback loop.
A feedback loop, yeah. You master the rhythm of that specific paragraph. It's like learning a song on the piano. You play the same piece until it flows, then you move on.
That makes so much sense. It's about depth, not breadth. But the author also suggests using other apps, the hybrid approach.
Yes. This is acknowledging that Gemini is a big picture coach. It's great for flow, rhythm, intonation, the macro stuff. But for the nitty-gritty, like drilling a specific vowel sound over and over, it's not the most efficient tool.
So you use apps like Bold Voice or Speechling for the drills?
Right. Use Speechling to drill the word squirrel 50 times until your tongue stops tying itself in knots. Then you go to Gemini and put squirrel into a full sentence to see if you can maintain that pronunciation while speaking naturally.
I like that. Specialized tools for the bricks. Gemini for the house.
That's a great way to put it.
And the final piece of advice in the source was about input. Put correct sounds into your head.
You can't output what you haven't input. You need to listen to experts. The source mentions channels like Luke Pretty or Cloud English. You need to fill your brain with the target rhythm so that when you record, you actually have a reference point.
It seems so obvious, but I think a lot of us skip that. We just start talking.
We do. We want to perform before we've rehearsed, but listening is 50% of speaking.
So how do we get around the hardware erasing those small sounds?
We rely on specialized apps for the details and use Gemini for the big picture flow.
So let's bring this all together. What is the big takeaway for you here? Because for me, it's that we are finally moving away from passive learning.
That is the core of it. For years, technology has kind of made us lazy learners. It auto-translates, it auto-corrects. This approach, using Gemini as a coach, it forces us to be active. We have to speak, we have to listen to the feedback, and we have to actually adjust.
It's the difference between using a crutch and doing physical therapy.
Yes. And the technology is finally ready to meet us there. It's not just matching text anymore. It's listening to the human element, the confidence, the hesitation, the rhythm.
It turns the AI from a spell checker into a mentor.
And a strict mentor, if you use the right prompt.
A very strict mentor.
No stereotypes, strict quotes.
So, here's our challenge to you, the listener. You have a phone, you probably have a Google account.
It's free to try.
Right now, when this deep dive ends, don't just think that's cool. Pick up your phone. Find a quiet closet if you have to.
Maybe just a quiet room. Closets have bad acoustics.
Fair point. Record 30 seconds about your day, just 30 seconds. Paste in that power prompt. Tell it to be a 20-year veteran coach. And just see what it says.
And specifically, look at the emotional feedback. Does it say you sound nervous? Does it say you sound robotic? That might be the most valuable thing you learned today.
It's not about sounding like a native speaker perfectly.
No. It's about being comfortable and being understood.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, and good luck with the recording.
Let us know what the AI hears.
See you next time.